nationwide protests are going on against the 3 farmers' bills, which had now received the President assent, and the act is passed. Now let us see about the Essential Commodities Act 2020. The Essential Commodities Act 2020 clearly stipulates that only if there is 100% increase in the horticultural, agricultural produce, then the farmers can stock that. And for the long-standing, unperishable agricultural produce, the retail price has to increase by 50%, and the time limit what they will look into is the past 1 year or up to 5 years, whichever is lower, with the exceptions for export demand. How much is the demand in the export market? That export stock is allowed to be stocked. And for processing, whatever is the limit of the processing unit, that stock is allowed to be stocked. And this is not applicable for public distribution system. And so the Essential Commodities Act 2020 clearly stipulates that there can be stock for exports, there can be stock for processing, there can be stock for public distribution system, but there will not be, or there could not be, any stock until the prices rises very deeply to 100% price increase or 50% increase for the all the general people of India. And the second act is Farmers Produce Trade and Commodities Act 2020. Here they have mentioned in the introduction a term called ecosystem. That is creation of an ecosystem. The BJP-led Modi ji government is creating an ecosystem between the farmer and the trader. I feel it is ridiculous. What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is a living creature, a living being with its all surrounding natural environment. It is applied in the true natural sense of meaning. A trade contract creation is defined as ecosystem by this BJP-led Modi ji government. Next is the electronic trading platform. Our farmers or illiterates, our country is poor India, but this Modi ji government expects the farmers to be literates and learn the computer education, which is highly impractical. Had Mr. Modi ji government brought 100% literacy rate in India in the past 6 years, they have introduced electronic trading platform for the farmers, and they have also pierced into the rights of the state governments guaranteed by the Constitution of India by allowing this interstate trade and intrastate trade, and absolutely removing APMC, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committees, and strictly instructing no fees, not even a 1 rupee fee to APMCs. And regarding the farmer, if at all a trade happens and if at all there is a dispute, then for dispute resolution the farmer has to come for conciliation, where he has to file an application within 30 days of the dispute, and from the date of filing in another 30 days there will be an order passed for the whatever the dispute is placed. Then if there is an appeal, if the farmer or the trader wants an appeal, then that time limit is another 90 days for filing the application. It is allowed up to 90 days, and after filing in the next 30 days there will be an appeal order to passed. It is all highly impractical in a poor country, and the next is Farmers Empowerment and Protection Act for agreement on price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020. Here they say it is Farmers Empowerment Act, Farmers Protection Act. But in practice, this would turn as Farming Endangering Act and Farmers End Slavery Act, or again Farmers Endangering Act. Here the term it is agribusiness between farmer and the trader at a mutually agreed price. How the farmer will know whether it will rain or not, how many days of rain will be there, how the weather will be there, whether the climate will allow for the kharif and rabi crops in India, how will be the monsoon, how can the farmer can predict all these things, how can he agree for the price. Throughout the worldwide, how is the price fixed? Price fixing formula is on two things. One is the availability and other is the demand. That fixes price, isn't it? Next, they want a return agreement in writing signed by the farmer to be given to the trader. This is highly again impractical, as the most of the farmers in India are illiterates and they cannot understand the legal terms of the contract as well. They will only fix the thumb impression, which is again inviting chaos. Then though it is for one crop season, one production cycle, the agreement is could be for either one crop season, one production cycle, or a maximum for 5 years, or in sometimes when needed explicitly you can term in writing and you can declare it for more than 5 years. For some of the agricultural growing and harvesting, it may take for more than 5 years term of agreement also. So ultimately what would happen in long term, the farmer will be forced to produce or do farm service of what is demanded by the traders, and this demand will again be fixed by the traders, business class of India, as well as the international business communities. And there is a wording about the seed production. The payment for seed production, 2/3 of the payment has to be given in delivery, and rest of the payment within stipulated 30 days time, like that. So the seed production is very important in India. There has to be a high rise in seed production, there has to be a very great protection in seed production actually, because very big giants are minting money in the seed production, and whereas they are minting money in seed production, they want the underdeveloped countries like Indian farmers to stay away from seed production. They want these seed production giants, they want their seeds to be marketed in India. They want Indian farmers to buy seeds from other countries. And they have also stated that there would be, the agreement is not for sale, lease or mortgage of the agricultural land. Of course, the land parcel cannot be cut as a piece of cake and taken abroad or by the other developed countries. So the land will be here only. The land will be with the farmer only. But when the farmer ends up in crisis without the ability to pay for the trader, or the farmer goes in debt, something like that. So what will happen? Ultimately, the trader will force the farmer to sell the land to the Binami whom is showing. Ultimately, the farmer will be in land crisis, life crisis, and we should not forget that already there are a huge number of farmer suicides in India. Per day, around 10 farmers commit suicide in India. In the recent years, there are almost 3 lakh farmer suicide in India, and almost all are due to very short debts which they are not able to clear, and they want to save the land. If they are alive, the land will go, so they want their land to be for the welfare of their family and offsprings, and so to give the land to their heirs, they give their lives and they commit suicide, which the government should clearly look into and take all the steps to save these farmers. Of course, India needs huge food production revolution. It should be a very great scientific agricultural revolution. We all need more food by the years passing. The demand will be more because the population keeps on rising. There has to be a scientific agricultural revolution in India, but not like this at the cost of the hard labor and lives of the farmers, poor farmers in India. So ultimately, what is happening? Why all these are happening? What's happening in India? Why these farmer acts are here in India now? It is a form of imperialism, trade imperialism. The other developed countries like United States of America, President Mr. Trump, who exert huge pressure on the central government of India. And US is known for giving subsidies for agricultural produce. Huge subsidies. Instead of rupees 100, US will slash the price by 30%, 40% and will give. And India cannot compete like that. And US is a country where for 1 year they give almost $100 billion subsidy to $200 billion, which is unimaginable and unpractical in India. And in milk production, they add recombinant bovine somatotropin, which will increase the milk production by 15% to 20%. And that kind of hormone is almost not good for health. India will definitely reject that kind of practice. And United States wants to dump their agricultural produce like 10 lakh tons of milk powder, 6 lakh tons of cheese, 4 lakh tons of lactose, 10 lakh tons of whey protein, like that. The agricultural sector, agricultural communities of United States of America are literally very angry with poor India, because they shout and cry, we want the Indian market to be open for America to dump our agricultural produce, and why you Indians don't allow that. They expect free trade agreement so they can dump their agricultural produce at a very high competitive price in India. See, for example, if the agricultural land in India costs 10 lakh per acre, in America it is just only 3 lakh rupees per acre. So the investment is less. Very large scale intensive agriculture is done there in America. So almost each farming unit is around 180 hectares to 200 hectares, whereas in India it is just 1 hectare. And there are 20 lakh units of farming in United States. And of the total population of the United States of America, only 2% of the population take part and work in agricultural farming, whereas in India it is around 50% to 60% of the people in India work as agricultural laborers or in farming in agricultural sector. And this includes animal husbandry, fisheries, vegetables, fruits growing, everything. And in America, on an average monthly, the farmer gets around 20,000 US dollars, that is around 1.5 lakhs as per Indian currency. But in India, it is very less. In India, it is almost around just 20,000 to 30,000. That's all. Not more than that. And regarding the milk products of America, they have the habit of feeding their cows with bone meal, blood meal, and with calf intestine, something like that, from the beef and pork, added to it. And their cheese contains rennet, which is got from calf intestine. And surely the vegetarian people of India will have a very strict objection to that kind of dairy products in agricultural market in India. So if 6 lakh tons of cheese is going to be in India, that amount is equivalent to 12 years of cheese consumption of India. And recently around 10% of China import to China from US is lost. So they are looking for a alternative market as well. If we take they want to dump soya, maize, etc. If soya and maize are imported, what will happen here? Here we are cultivating soya and maize for our chicken poultry, hen poultry. So if this soya and maize cultivation is affected, it will in turn affect our poultry, chicken production, and this will in turn affect our banking. because of the nearly 1 lakh crores of money invested in our chicken farming. 70% of the money is got from banks as loans. So once soya and maize is affected, in turn the chicken industry will be affected, in turn banking will be affected, in turn all the people will be affected. And US wants to dump apples, almonds, walnuts, like things which will affect cold northern states like Jammu Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal and Himachal Pradesh. And in India there are around 15 crore milk producing farmers. They have almost a very small average units like 2 to 3 cows per unit. Whereas in US it is large scale intensive dairy farming system. Each dairy farming unit will have around 2,000 cows, 3,000 cows and some even up to 30,000 cows. Can a poor country like India compete with such large scale intensive and extensive farming of the developed countries? I think certainly India cannot compete so. And US also wants to dump some lentils, chickpeas like that. And we are very particular with seeds production. We have to go for seed production revolution actually. If seeds are gone, all are gone. No doubt in it. And already there is $100 billion per year trading in goods between India and US. $60 billion per year in service exchange between India and US. So this imperialism is trying to they say in paper that it's a win-win situation for US and India, but in reality it will turn our farmers into slaves. It will destroy our agriculture. It will endanger our food security. It will in turn endanger our existence and lives in India. It will endanger all the people of India at large. Definitely we have to have a very big scientific revolution in agriculture, because compared to what the food we need in 2000 and what we will be needing in 2050, in the gap of 50 years. In the span of 50 years, the population will increase and almost we need the food requirement is going to be doubled. We need double the food production. So we have to find out the ways. We have to bring a very efficient scientific revolution in Indian agriculture. We have to understand that our farming practice is with it is all with छोटा छोटा ज़मीन पर हम लोग ये एग्रीकल्चर करते हैं. हमारे किसान बहुत गरीब हैं. हमारे देश के किसानों को जो अवेलेबल मिट्टी है, जो अवेलेबल लैंड है वो बहुत कम है. लेकिन यूएस में वो it is in very large scale, extensive, and the price of the land is also very low, the investment is also very low. So we have to think about the competitive international market, and we have to sustain our agriculture. We have to keep our agriculture alive. We cannot turn our farmers into dead bones. We cannot have empty plates. just imagine while we are eating, we find only empty plates before us. It cannot happen. So let us strive towards excellency in agriculture. Let us strive towards excellency in food production. Let us have food safety. Let us bring a planned seed production revolution, scientifically planned agricultural revolution, but not at the cost of the lives and labor of the poor farmers in India. So what we know from this, for the sake of the poor farmers in India, please share with others also. The country has to win in farming sector, and still if the government does not consider the welfare of the farmers, let all our Indian farmers declare that we will not sign any of the farming agreements to any of the traders. बस हो गया. हमारे पूरा लड़ाई उसमें ख़त्म हो जाएगा. We will ask the government to immediately interfere and correct the flaws in these agricultural production acts, or let us declare that none of our farmers will be signing any of the agreements with any of the traders, because the government cannot kill farmers. Let us be aware of the farmers' rights. Let us be aware of our protection also. Let us know and let us share with other people all these ideas, all these facts, and let us keep our agriculture alive, and let us devote our lives to a little sake, at least for the poor farmers in India. Advocate G. Praveena from Salem, Tamil Nadu.